Welcome to ORI Media's video on the top 50 Brisca F2 final winners. We've gone to great lengths to try and make sure the stats in this video are correct, but there might be the odd mistake here and there. Please point these out in the comment section after the video. We hope you enjoy. Tied 48th. Trevor Whitney recorded 31 wins between 1980 and 1984, his first coming at Bristol. Nigel Green's 31 wins started in 2008 and finished in 2013, both the first and last final win for him being at Birmingham. Eric Brown also recorded 31 wins, his coming between 1983 and 1994, his first being at Newtongrange and his last being at Cowdenbeath. Tied 46th. John Mickle won 32 finals, those being between 1993 and 1998, his first at Skegness and his last at Swaffham. Stuart Kelly has also won 32 finals, his first being at Cowdenbeath in 1995 and his last being at Crimond in 2018. Tied 43rd. The first driver on 34 final wins is Les Burrows. He won his first at Skegness in 1983 and his last also at Skegness in 1996. Mickey Brennan is a current driver who's notched up 34 final wins, his first being at Birmingham in 2009 and his latest at Skegness in 2021. Eddie Ayling won his 34 finals back in the 1960s, his first being in 1963 at Brayfield and his last being in 1968. 42nd. Bryn Thomas won 35 finals, his first being at Taunton in 1982 and his last at Buxton in 2008. Tied 39th. The first of three drivers on 36 wins, Kevin Stack won his first final in 1978 and his last in 1987, both of them being at Bristol. Mark Taylor also won 36 finals, his first coming in 1982 at Wolverhampton and his last at Mildenhall in 1999. The final driver on 36 final wins is Ian Durham. He took his first final in 1966 and his last final in 1969. 38th. Stuart Gilchrist took 38 final wins between 1995 and 2004, both his first and last final coming at Cowdenbeath. 37th. Currently on 39 final wins is Kelvin Marshall. He took his first at Skegness in 2002 and his latest final win was also at Skegness in 2022. 36th. On 40 final wins is Neil Hooper. He took his first at St Column in 2001 and his last at St Day in 2018. Tied 34th. The first of two drivers on 41 final wins is Craig Wallace. He took his first final win at Cowdenbeath in 2012 and his latest final win was also at Cowdenbeath in 2021. Joining Craig on 41 wins is James Thackra. He took his first final win in 1999 at Barrow and his last was at Barford in 2011. 33rd. Moving on to 44 final wins, we have John Fortune, who took his first final win at Newtongrange in 1987 and his last at Barford in 2011. 32nd. Andrew Palmer currently has 45 final wins, his first being at Skegness in 2002 and his latest at Kings Lynn in 2021. 31st. In at 31 we have Jim Moody, who took 47 final wins between 1982 and 1997, his first being at Newtongrange and his last at Cowdenbeath. Tied 29th. On 49 final wins we have Graham Kelly, who took his first final win at Knockhill in 1991 and his last at Crimond in 2016. Also joining Graham on 49 final wins we have Keith Brown, who took his first in 1996 at Hartlepool and his last in 2007 at Cowdenbeath. 28th. Russell Taylor took 51 final wins, his first being in 1981 and his last being in 1998 at Barford. 27th. In at 27 we have another current driver, Robbie Dawson, who's had 53 final wins. His first came at Crimond in 2003 and his latest was also at Crimond in 2022. 26th. Next is Tim Farrell on 54 final wins, his first coming at Newton Abbot in 1993 and his last at Bellevue in 2008. 25th. Marking the halfway point of our list we have Malk Locke on 55 final wins, his first coming at Bristol in 1981 and his last final win also coming at Bristol in 1991. 24th. 24th on our list is Pete Gilbert, winning 57 finals, his first being at Buxton in 1991 and his last being at Taunton in 2001. 23rd. Dave Luscombe took 58 final wins, his first coming in 1985 and his last coming in 2010 at Bristol. 22nd. Next we have Mark Simpson, who notched up 60 final wins, his first coming at Warton in 1994 and his last at King's Lynn in 2018. 21st. Keith Stanford took 61 final wins, his first coming at Newtongrange in 1982 and his last at Cowdenbeath in 2001. 20th. Into the top 20 we go, and it's Tom Pitcher who kicks things off with 62 final wins, his first coming at Ringwood in 1964 and his last being in 1974. 19th. Racing at a similar time to Tom, Dave Brown won 64 finals, his first coming in 1967 at Newton Abbot and his last coming in 1969, also at Newton Abbot. 18th. To complete the trio of drivers from that era, we have Johnny Marquand at number 18 with 67 final wins, his first coming in Plymouth in 1963 and his last at St Austell in 1970. 17th. In at number 17 we have Daz Kitson, who won 70 finals, his first being at Warton in 1995 and his last being at Skegness in 2014. 16th. Chalky White won 71 finals, his first being in 1978 and his last in 1990, both of which came at Taunton. 15th. Gary Hooper took 76 final wins, his first being at Newton Abbot in 1976 and his last being at Taunton in 1994. 14th. In at number 14 we have Colin Higman, who took 81 final wins between the years of 1966 and 1999, his first being at Plymouth and his last being at St Column. 13th. Paul Broach took 84 final wins, his first coming at Blackburn in 1979 and his last at Cowdenbeath in 2012. 12th. The current world champion Dave Polly makes the list at number 12 with 91 final wins, the first being at King's Lynn in 2004 and his latest at Bradford in 2022. 11th. In at number 11, just shy of 100 wins on 99, is Ian King. He took his first final win in 1979 at Skegness and his last at Swaffham in 1994. 10th. So into the top 10 we go with Mike James at number 10 on 104 wins, his first coming at Newton Abbot in 1975 and his last at Taunton in 2006. 9th. In 9th we have Barry Golding on 108 final wins, his first coming at Buxton in 1996 and his last at Skegness in 2014. Tied 7th. The first of two drivers on 121 final wins is Roy Goodman, who took his first final win in 1962 around Brayfield and his last final win in 2004 at Bristol. Joining Roy on 120 final wins is Bert Finak, who took his first final win at Buxton in 1994 and his last at Sheffield in 2010. 6th. Just missing out on the top 5 is Mick Sauder on 125 final wins. He took his first in 1993 at Northampton and his last at Bristol in 2010. 5th. So into the top 5 we go, and at number 5 we've got Chris Bradbury, who took 144 final wins, his first coming at Bristol in 2004 and his last was at Taunton in 2014. 4th. In at number 4 we have current driver Chris Burgoyne, who's taken 157 final wins, his first coming at Cowdenbeath in 2000 and his latest also at Cowdenbeath in 2022. 3rd. No prizes for guessing who the top 3 are, but in at number 3 is Rob Speak on 351 final wins, his first coming in 1988 at Newtongrange and his last at Bellevue in 2016. 2nd. In at number 2 is Bill Batten, who topped this list for many years on 462 final wins, his first coming in 1972 and his last at St Day in 2009. first. And so at the very top of the list we have Gordon Moody on 483 final wins, his first coming at Cowdenbeath in 1998, and his latest also at Cowdenbeath in 2022, although we don't think it'll be his last. So that's the current top 50. Which new drivers do you think could make the list in the future? Which of the drivers on the list do you think can climb higher? And how many final wins do you think Gordon Moody can get to? Please leave all comments below, and we'll see you next time.